In this video we're going to be showing you how to stain an exterior deck. To stain this deck we're going to be using a product called Mesmer's UV Plus oil-based stain, and it's a semi-transparent stain, both brown. We're using an exterior stain brush, and it's a 4-inch flat bristled China bristle brush used for exterior stain. You want to have several rags on hand to wipe any exterior stain that doesn't actually penetrate into the wood. I use just throwaway latex gloves so I don't get any stain on my hands. And then you want to have 1.5 gallon or 2 gallon bucket to put your stain in, and a stir stick. And the tints in these stains have a tendency to settle to the bucket fairly fast, so you want to be stirring your stain probably about every 5 minutes or so. So I just keep a wooden stir stick in the bucket to keep stirring it. I'm going to put these pair of latex throwaway gloves on here to start this project, and we've already started out here and we're going to continue on. I'm going to take my rag with me and a bucket, and we're going to start out here on the sun. This portion of the deck gets a lot of sun, and so it's pretty rare that the stain won't soak in, and you typically don't need to wipe up any excess. In the patio area where the deck doesn't get as much sun and where the stain doesn't penetrate very well, there's going to be some excess stain that has a tendency to puddle or sit on and doesn't penetrate in. You definitely want to wipe that up, because an oil-based stain, if it puddles and doesn't absorb in, it'll take several days to dry and it'll become pretty tacky. So I'm working over this area right here, and I'm going to be working just in small sections, and I'm just going to dip my brush in, just the bristles. I dip the bristles in only about 1/4 of an inch into the stain, and then I shake it off, and then I'm going to be brushing. And I actually use a brush because you get more stain on and you get more penetration of the stain. I'm going to be working in a section just like this and brushing my stain in. I'm working in here in this section that doesn't get a whole lot of sun, and I'll usually give it just about 5 minutes as I'm working my way down the deck. I'll give it about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go back over it with a rag and just wipe off any excess that hasn't penetrated in. And it's when I just take your time along the edges. These thin penetrating oil-based stains have a tendency to splatter real easy, so you want to just go slowly along your edges. And when you get out to the field out here, you can start moving a little bit quicker. And this deck has been coated probably 5 or 6 times over the years, and so in here in the shaded area, there's so many coats of stain that no more stain will penetrate, but the scratches in areas like that will absorb some stain. Any spots that could possibly worn down from foot traffic will absorb the stain. This stuff in this today, it's about 80 degrees outside, sun's shining over here on this portion. And if you let set too long without actually wiping it down, it'll get tacky really fast, and then you won't be able to wipe the excess off with a rag. Out here in this area, this gets full sun every day. In these areas here, see I'll be putting some stain on. And this stuff absorbs out here and absorbs fully into the wood. There's only a few places like where there's hard knots in areas like that where it's not absorbing in those areas I'll go back and wipe off. But it's absolutely critical that you use a rag to wipe those areas that are pooling and not absorbing, because the deck will be extremely tacky for weeks if you don't do that. And that's what oil-based products, penetrating oil stains, water-based products will just dry and they create a top coat. And I just continue working along the deck. And out here in the sun, you can see it absorbs really well into the deck, but if there's any areas puddling, just wipe them off, just like that. When I take off the Christmas lights, and we're just working around them. This is Chris in Boise, how to stain a deck.